regular expression or regex in Power Automate for desktop is very powerful. Let me show you what regex is, and afterward I will show you how we can use it in Power Automate for desktop. Imagine that we got some data that could be from a web page or another system. They look like this. These are 4 transactions in 4 lines. So the first one here, that is the category, and this is the subcategory and a date. I really need the category, so that one is this one here, and then I need the subcategory in another variable. But you can see the sizing differs, so I can't really use character positions. I need to come up with another rule, and that is exactly what regex is. Regex is a search pattern that can easily extract data out of structured data. Let me show you how powerful it is. So open up a browser. This is regex 101, a regex tester. My test string, I just Control V and paste in these 4 lines of data here. And then if I want to get out the first, let's say the category, I can go up here. I want to start at a line, and that is a hat. Now you can see these 4 here turns purple. I just told regex that I want to start at a line. I haven't extracted anything yet. So I have 4 matches, but they are all null because I haven't defined what I want to extract. Say that I just want, for example, 3 characters. Then I can do this, a dot, that is 1 character. And then in curly brackets, I can say 3 and do like this. That will be 3 characters. But that was not what we wanted. We wanted to extract a category. And when you create these regex pattern, we need to think about how we can create a rule. And the first rule could be that we want to extract everything until we reach a space and a /, because a category can also have multiple words. For example, now I'm just saying nyhed ABC. It can look like this as well. So we need to say we want to get everything except when it comes to a space and a /. That will look like this. So first I want to say I really need every character except a /. So in hard brackets that will look like this. Then I can have another hat. And now a hat doesn't mean that I'm in the start of a line, but that means that I want to extract everything except now the / comes in. And again, you need to practice a bit because what you want here is to learn all the basic about regular expression. And if you sign up to my newsletter down here, I'm planning to make a complete regex guide for Power Automate for desktop developers in later this year. So, but now back to the case. And then I want to say a star, and that one gives me everything until the end. But I also want to say I don't really want the space. And that can be quite hard to configure, because if I did it here, I say except a / and a space, because then it will miss this space as well. But what I can do is that I can say look behind a space and a / that looks this with a that's actually a look ahead. So it looks ahead of something. So now this will look ahead, and here I can say what do I want to look ahead of? Well, I want to look ahead of a space like this. Then an escaped / like this, and maybe another space. So now if I go down here, I can actually extract this category with this simple pattern. This will work whatever happens. We just need a rule saying that the category is separated by a /. So I can take this regular expression, I just copy it, so we have it here. In our simple notepad, I'll say category looks like this. To get the subcategory, we will do something similar, except that we are not in the start of a line, so I will remove this. Here I want to say, I know that the subcategory always comes after a /. So I can say look behind like this, and I just need a like this. So now I can say, what do I want to look behind? Well, I want to look behind a space and a /, and it is escaped because a / has a different meaning in regex, so we need to escape it with this. So now I'm saying I want to look after a /. Here you can see that it actually gives us multiple positions because we also have a / here, but we came a little bit along the way. What we can do is say that I want to look for everything like this, and now I just say I want to stop at the next /. And that will be here, 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 and here. So then I do this, an escaped, I just need to do this, an escaped / and maybe a space like this. That's how we get the subcategory out. Now we created a pattern for that as well. My name is Anders Jensen. Let's learn some Microsoft Power Automate for desktop. Let's see how we can implement it in Power Automate for desktop. And this whole case, we will see how we can extract data and use RegEx with it. It's actually from one of you. It's from Bo. Thank you, Bo, for the nice question. This will be an excellent video. I will, in this new format, answer questions to you live. They will be less edited, so you will have a little bit of that will be fine, no zooms. But I will answer comments from these YouTube comments down here. So place a comment if I should solve your problem in a video the next time. Now we proceed. So we got this subcategory, and I'll move it over here. So just to say, this is my subcategory pattern. So let's look at the case. So the case is that we want to move to start.dk /SOEG, SOEG. This is search page in the Danish government site. So what we want to do now, we got 2,740 results. You can see it down here, all items here. But we only want news from this year. So I want to click start date, and then I want to say January the 1st here. And if you watch this video in one of the coming years, you can just say the 1st of January in the year that you're in, for example, 2023. And then today's date, I can just click here and click this little blue. So now I got every result from this year. I can click start search. And here you can see, oh no, I got 176 results, that's fine, but I got 18 pages to scrape. That means that my robot should click next, 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 and click all these pages. So instead, we might want to say, I want 50 results per page. Now you can see we only got 4 pages. Could we do this smarter? Yes, we can. We can go up here in max results, and then we can tweak the URL. Tweaking URLs is always a nice trick as an RPA developer. We can do this, say 1,000. Now we got the 176 results in one page. Now you can see these are the ones that we want to scrape. We want to scrape the title, that is this one here, Ny Analyse Viser. That was Danish, by the way, I'm Danish. And then we want the category, that is the nyhed. That is the one that we just practiced in RegEx, so this will be easy for us. Then we want the subcategory, and finally we want the URL. Because if I click one of these, you can see that this is a total new news. So I want this URL up here. Let me go back. Let's create a solution for that. So now we handle that we can have every element by tweaking the URL. We also need to address the problem that today it's the 28th of September 2022, but tomorrow it will be a different date when the robot runs, or say that the robot should run next week. Then we don't want it to stop at the 28th of September 2022. We want all the news from up until today. What we can do, of course, we can have our robot click buttons. But look at this up here. Here you can see the date from and then the date to. So if I can just tweak this little element up here to have today's date, then I will have accomplished the search, and I can just start scraping instead of us clicking button with the bot. So I copy this URL. We will tweak it in a little while. So I will go back to Power Automate for desktop. Here I have a blank flow. And what I want to do is that I want to launch a new browser. So I'll say launch new Chrome like this. And here I'll drag it in. My URL, I can just paste in this one here. I know that we said we want to change this. We will do that in a little while. Just remember the structure, because the structure is here. I have a year, a month, and then a date. Separated by these. There was one of you told me what this was, this little separator. Please let me know in the comments again, and I promise not to forget it. So we want to do this dynamic, and we can do this. We can click save here. We can just get the current date and time. We will only use the date, but so we'll say get current date and time and drag that one in here. Like this. This will just give us the current date and time. So what I want to do here is that I want to say save, but this is in a date time format. I really want to convert it to a text so I can use it in this URL. So now I find a convert date time to text here and drag that one in here. So I need a date time to convert, and that was this current date time from up here. Do this. The format to use, I need to, I can either use the standard, but then I need to look if there's something that matches my here. I don't think there is. So what I will do is I will say custom. So again, remember what we wanted. We wanted a year first. That will be 4Ys. This is actually .NET custom date time formatting. You can easily Google this if you want to know more, or write me, I will gladly send you the link. Then I want the month, and then I want the date. So now I have the same format that is being used as up here. I can use this little, it's getting saved in formatted date time. I can just click save, and we can use it down here. So open the new, launch new Chrome. And then here in manual date to, I just click delete these and click this little X here, choose formatted date time. Now we use that in our URL. So now we know that we grab the current date, then we use it in the URL, making sure that we always will get the right result. Let me just show you here. I can run it, and this one will open up the newest one. I know that this one was for today, but that's actually worked because we used the variable here. Isn't that beautiful? If you like these sessions where I help you guys with your questions here in the comments, please let me know. Give this video a thumbs up or a comment. That will help the channel a lot, and I can make a lot more videos. So what we will do here is that we can now start scraping. And let's just inspect what we actually want, because we want this title, then we want the category, the subcategory, and the URL. Most of it we can get by using the extract data from web page, but there's a built-in trap and actually something nice for you to see and learn. So here I find a extract data from web page under web data extraction. Drag that one in here. So I need to open up my search page, which is here. Now you can see that I can get all these results here. So first I want a title. I can just right click here, extract element value, and pick the text. That is the first news item. Then I want to say, I want to grab the next one as well. Then I say right click, extract element value, and we get each and every one. There's only 20 here in the preview, but it will work for all 176. So now we get that. Then we need to get the category and the subcategory. And now you can see here, we can only get the entire line. It's not possible for us to get inside here. And that's why we introduced RegEx in the beginning of this video. So for now, we will just grab this whole line. I'll just right click, extract element value, and get it. So now you can see that I got the entire line. We also want the URL. And usually a URL is tied to this title. That's where we click to get to the next page. But if I click right click, extract element value, we can see that we can't find any URL tied to this title. And there's a reason for this. So let me just go over here. If you press, let me just see, F12, that will open up the developer tools. It's the easiest thing to open up here in the button. If you have it over here, you can just click these 3 dots here and dock to the button. It might look like this. I prefer to have it in the button, but it will be the same. That's just because the text goes wide. It's more easy to look at. That can inspect any element on a web page. So that is the code that the web developers made that we can now inspect. And this code is tied to the address that Power Automate for Desktop uses. So we can use this code to generate our own element for the URL. I click this little here. And then I can just click this arrow. I'm under elements, click the arrow so it turns blue, and click that here. That jumps us to, you can see here, to the H2. Ny analyse viser, at flere personer med handicap kommer i job. That was Danish again, but this is the title. We need to say, where's the URL tied to this? And you can see it's actually up here. So H is element H, and then the attribute href, that's actually usually the attribute we use for URLs. You can see it here, and then we have the URL here. That is the URL that we want to grab. So what is important here is that we can look at this saying we want a URL, and the URL is in the A element just before the H2. So for now, I will just move over here to this live web helper, click advanced settings. And here you can see how we got the title. We actually got the title by having a base selector, but then we have the H2. So Power Automate generated this for us, and it says 8, A, and then H2. So we can just use this A without the H2. Let me show you how that looks. So specify additional CSS selector. Then I'll just say, sorry, A. And over in attribute, I want the href attribute. So I'll just say href like this, and that's it. And I can click OK. There you go. We now have all the URLs tied to the elements. Isn't that beautiful? I can just click finish now, and then just click save. So we can now, we're now done with the data scraping, but let's just see that everything works. And let me just close here, and I click run. So we're just going to see that we can actually get all the data. So if I go back to Power Automate for Desktop, you can see data from web page, 176 rows. I just do this. There you go. We now have all our data. So our next problem is that we want to output the data. So we want to have it in Excel, and then we want to use RegEx on this one here. So one step at a time. Let's start by outputting the data to a data table. A data table is nice because it's easy to work with. So we'll create a data table in the beginning of the flow. We can do it in several ways, either with the native activities or just with a set variable. So drag a set variable in right after the get current date and time. I like to have this get current date and time in the somewhat beginning, but we can easily argue that it could be everywhere. It will just take a date right when that occurs, so it doesn't really matter. So now here in variable, I'll call this result. This will be a data table, and the way we do data tables is that we have these percentage signs in here, and then we'll say we want to have these curly brackets. That is a data row, and we want to specify this is a header row, so that will be a hat, and then we will have the data row in hard brackets. So right now we will have nothing in it, but we can start adding it. I want the title like this, then I want the category like this, I want the sub category like this, and then I want the URL. So that will look like this. And if you have made a minor mistake, Power Automate for Desktop will just warn you, you forgot a simple comma or something. So now if I click save, we don't have any errors. But let me show you, if I just forgot this comma here, it will say syntax error. So it doesn't say quite what it is, but it tells you that there's something wrong, and we can just make the comma here and click save. So now we created a data table. Now we can say for each one of the rows here in the data from web page, that is the data table that we scraped with all the data, then we want to add a data row to this one here. So here I will say for each, that will iterate through a collection, here a data table. I'll say for each. The value to iterate, well, that is data from web page. So I'll do like this, and it will get stored in a current item reference variable. So this current item, you can see it as for each one of the rows, we can refer to them as they occur by saying a current item. I can do this. Now we're iterating through it. Then we want to say we want to add a row to this data table up here. So I'll just use another set variable. I like these set variable compared to the native data table activities because they're easily to configure. If we want to add something later on, we just add a thing here to our expression or down here. So now we drag it in here. And what do I want to have in here? Well, I want the title, the category, subcategory, and the URL. We don't have the subcategory quite ready yet, but we will have it in a minutes. So this one here, that will say that is the result. So I click the X and pick the result. I also want to be careful here because when I want to add data to the result, I don't want to override whatever is in there. So I want to say I want whatever is in the result currently. I know it's empty in the first one, but the second one, it will not be empty. And then let me just go here. Then in here, I'll say plus, And these spaces doesn't matter. Power Automate for Desktop will ignore it. So then I want a data row. And again, I will say hard brackets. Here I can refer to the current item. So current item like this. And then I want a hard bracket. And then I want the index number of the data table. First, I wanted the title, and that was the first thing we scraped, so that will be 0. You can also find it over here in this data from web page, these 3 columns. That is the columns that we use down here. So I will say in current item 0 because it's 0 index, so the first column is referred to as 0. Then I want the current item 1 like this. That is the whole line, that is the category. So we don't really have it separated yet, and that's why we will, for the subcategory, we will just have 2 quotation marks. And finally, we want current item, and then we will say 2. That one is the URL. So we have fixed the title, or we'll see the title, the URL. We haven't fixed yet these 2 here, but we can just click save and fix it later. Now, after this, we want to print it to Excel. So here I want to say launch Excel. Now I can launch an Excel sheet and print the results to it. So I go down here, launch Excel. I'll just use a blank document because I'll write my this result data table to it, so I have nothing in it. Make instance visible, no thank you. And then I can just click save. Now I can write to Excel worksheet, and the tricky part here is that we have to write the headers separately from the results. That's just the way Power Automate for Desktop works currently. So I'll say write to Excel worksheet. What value do I want to write? Let's write out the headers first, and we also get a little bit of practice. And here I'll just add a normal data row to it. So this will look like this. It will look like the exact same thing as before with these curly brackets, hard brackets, and percentage sign. And then we can have the item in here. So again, I'll say title. I'll say category. And again, if you want to see more, I gladly do more of these videos instead of my normal job. Just you can help me a lot by giving it a thumbs up. That will bring more people to the channel, making me earn more to create these videos, and someday I will be able to make these videos full time. That could be really awesome. So but just thanks for being here, that means a lot. And again, if you have any questions about Power Automate for Desktop or any other RPA tool, post them down here in the comments, and I might pick your question and answer them with a video. I'll do it each week from now, so I hope you really enjoy this. So now we have this. Where do I want to write it? Well, I want to write it in A and then the row 1. That is my header. So I do like this. Now I can write out my result. So another write to Excel worksheet. So I want to write to, what value do I want to write? I want to write the result variable. That one is here. Again, I'll just write it into the A column. So I want to start at the A. And now I will do it at 2 because I have my headers in 1. I can click save. Let's say that I just want to save it on my desktop, and you might have a different desktop than I do, like the address. Mine is called Anders Jensen something. Then we can just use a get special folder. Drag that one, just pick it here and drag it in here. This will just return a special folder path with this value, and that is the address of my desktop. So that is good. I just got this special folder. Now we can close Excel again. So I'll say close. And that is important. Otherwise, Power Automate for Desktop locks it. But it's also where we can save what we have written to it. So here I will just say, what do I want to save? Well, I want to save document as. And now I'll use the special folder path down here. Click this X, special folder path. Then I'll have a backward slash results.slsx like this, and then I can click save. So it shouldn't be tested, but what I really want to do here is that I don't really want to scrape all results because that will be quite slow. So let's just pick 10, see that works, and when the robot runs in the end, we will of course pick every element. Remember to save your flows because Power Automate for Desktop will not auto-save. Now let's run it and to see if we have any errors, and of course we will fix it if we do. So now we run these 10, we open up Excel, and in a little while we're done. So now we ran our flow. Let me minimize all these. Here we have our results, and it's over here. There you go. We now have, let me just do this. Here we have it. We have sorted a lot of the job. We have the title here with the header. We have the category. Well, we haven't sorted that one yet. That is the RegEx part. And we have the subcategory. That will also be the RegEx part. And here we have the UL. So we came a long way. So what we will do here is that let me close this one down again. And let me just move in here and say, I really want to get the regex up here for each one of these rows. I will use my regex. So using regex in Power Automate, we will do that with a parse text. We will need two of them, one for the category and one for the subcategory. The text to parse, well, that stands in the current item. And let me just click save here. It will give us an error. So in the current item, let me just open that. That is actually just a row from the data from web page, but it will look like this. We want to look in the second column, that is index 1. So what we can do here, we can just go in here, text to parse, current item. Then I want to say 1 like this. Oh, sorry, curly bracket. That was not my meaning. So I will just say, look in the current item, the first, that is actually the second column. And what text do I want to find? In the beginning, we created the regex for that. So the category, that was this regex pattern. Remember, we created it in the beginning of this video. Rewind it if you haven't seen it. The video is designed for that. So that looks like this. Is regular expression? Yes. First occurrence only. Doesn't really matter. We only have one occurrence, but that is fine. Down here, we get two variables produced. We get a position. That is the position where this text occurs. That will be position 0 for the category. And then we will have the category printed out in a variable called match. Let's rename it. I'll go down to match and I'll say category like this. And then I click save. Similarly, we will do a regex parse for the subcategory. So drag that one in. We will still look in the current item 1. So I could have copied that one or just make it again to practice. So current item 1, and then the regex pattern, well, we just saw it here. So I'll copy the subcategory in and paste it in here. Yes, it is regular expression. And again, we will just change this match here. So I will call this subcategory. It's just so it's easier to refer to than match or match to. Now, what we want to do here is that we want to be able to write them in down here. So I can just go here, and instead of this current item 1, I can just refer to the category variable that we just created. And similarly, subcategory like this, and then I click save. Now we just need to fix one thing before we test it, and that is this max results up here. I'll set it to 1000 again. We only had it while we tested. And I can click save here. And now we're ready to run. I will just save here, and then we will click run. If you want me to solve your problem next, post your problem here in the comment under the video, and I might pick you up for next video I'll publish in next week. I enjoy making these videos because you will see me develop. I can see it will take a little bit of extra time with 176 rows, but I will enjoy these videos because you can see me develop somewhat on the fly. Of course, I prepared a bit, just saw how it worked, but you'll see a lot of advanced concepts that we don't necessarily touch in the regular videos. Now, let me just fast forward, take a sip of water, and see you when the robot has ran. There you go. Now we're done. Let's inspect our results just to see that we've got everything right. So I'll open it up here. There you go. We now have all our data. We have the category, the subcategory. But what is here? You can see that we're missing some subcategories. Did we make a mistake, or was it something in the data? So that is, just copy this one here so we can search the web page. You can see here that there's no subcategory in this and this, and that might mean that we have to refine our regex pattern. So here we have our search result. Click Ctrl F, paste this one here. Here you see we have no subcategories on this one. We only have a category. So our regex pattern actually solved for this, and you can see it down here. Click the video up here to be taken to the next advanced Power Automate for Desktop use case. See you next week.